Have you ever woken up in the morning, had your usual cup of coffee, and still felt like your mind was dragging its feet behind you? You go through the motions of your day, sitting through conversations, rereading the same page of a book, or staring at the computer screen, yet your brain feels foggy. Many people call this tiredness or fatigue, but often what's missing isn't physical strength, it's mental energy. When mental energy is low, even the simplest tasks feel heavier than they should. But when it's high, life feels sharp, light, and more enjoyable. This is why learning how to boost mental energy matters so much, especially as we age. After 60, it's common to notice the mind doesn't feel as quick or focused as before. We misplace names, lose concentration during conversations, or feel unmotivated halfway through the day. But much of this decline has less to do with age itself and more to do with how we care for the brain. Just as muscles get stronger when we exercise them, the brain thrives when it's given the right conditions. Science makes it clear how demanding the brain is. Though it weighs only about 2% of our body weight, it consumes roughly 20% of the body's total energy. 1/5 of everything you eat and breathe goes straight into fueling your thoughts, memory, and focus. That means when mental energy feels low, it's often because the brain isn't getting what it needs: oxygen, hydration, rest, or stimulation. The hopeful news is that the brain is highly responsive. Even one small change in your daily routine can recharge it in remarkable ways, leaving you feeling twice as sharp. Think about a smartphone. No matter how advanced its features are, if the battery is low, the phone lags, freezes, and struggles to perform. Plug it into a charger, and suddenly everything flows smoothly again. Your brain works in the same way. Mental energy is your charge, and the right habits are your charger. You don't need dozens of complicated fixes to feel sharper. Often, just one consistent shift in how you live is enough to restore energy and clarity. Take the story of Mrs. N, age 68. Afternoons were her dreaded hours. Around 2 o'clock, she experienced what she called her crash. Her eyelids grew heavy, her concentration slipped, and her mind felt like it was wading through mud. Coffee didn't help. It only left her jittery. A friend suggested one small change: take a short walk outside after lunch. At first, she doubted such a simple act could matter. But after a week of trying, she noticed something remarkable. The fresh air, sunlight, and gentle movement gave her brain a boost of oxygen. Her afternoon shifted from sluggish to lively. Instead of dragging, she felt able to focus again, even enjoying crossword puzzles with her grandchildren. That one small change doubled her mental energy. Another example comes from Dara, a 72-year-old book lover. He once devoured novels but lately found he could barely get through a few pages before his attention slipped. He thought it was simply age catching up. But then he made one adjustment: drinking a glass of water each morning before his coffee. He discovered that hydration was the missing key. The brain is about 75% water, and even mild dehydration can shrink brain tissue, causing fatigue and poor focus. With better hydration, Dara's clarity returned. Reading became enjoyable again, and he called water his secret library card. Stories like these reflect what science already knows. Researchers studying mental fatigue have shown that even small adjustments, more oxygen, more hydration, or better rest, can double performance and focus. Brain cells are like tiny engines, burning fuel constantly. When the fuel is disrupted, the engine sputters. But provide the right support, and the engine purrs again. The exciting part is that the improvement doesn't require extreme effort. You don't need to change your entire lifestyle or spend money on supplements. The difference often comes from the smallest, most sustainable tweaks. The key is consistency, choosing a simple action and sticking with it. The first small change that can dramatically improve your mental energy is something deceptively simple: hydration. Drinking enough water each day may sound ordinary, even boring compared to the promises of energy drinks or supplements, but the truth is that proper hydration is one of the fastest, most effective ways to double your mental clarity and focus. The brain is made up of about 75% water. Every thought, every memory, every spark of creativity relies on chemical and electrical signals between brain cells. Those signals depend on water. When the body is even slightly dehydrated, just 2 to 3% below its normal fluid level, the brain begins to struggle. Studies show that mild dehydration can reduce attention, increase reaction time, and make tasks feel more difficult than they are. In other words, your brain runs like a sluggish computer with too many tabs open. Think about the last time you felt foggy or irritable. Chances are, you hadn't had much water that day. Many people mistake thirst for fatigue, reaching for coffee or snacks when their body is actually crying out for hydration. Caffeine and sugar can provide temporary stimulation, but they don't fix the underlying problem. Water does. Within minutes of drinking it, blood flow improves, oxygen delivery to the brain increases, and those clouds in your mind begin to clear. Take the example of Dara, the retired teacher who loved reading. For years, he believed his fading concentration was a normal part of aging. Yet all it took was one small change, drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning before coffee, for his mental energy to improve. He described it as a switch flipping on in his brain. Suddenly, he could sit with a book and follow the story again. The act was simple, but the results felt profound. Hydration doesn't only affect memory and focus, it also plays a role in mood. Researchers have found that dehydration increases feelings of tension, anxiety, and fatigue. By contrast, staying hydrated keeps your mood steadier, which in turn makes it easier to stay motivated. For seniors, this is especially important. As we age, the body's sense of thirst becomes less reliable, meaning older adults may not feel thirsty even when their bodies need water. That's why making hydration a conscious habit can be transformative. Mrs. N experienced this firsthand. She often battled what she called her afternoon fog. She assumed it was just the natural tiredness that comes with age. But when her daughter encouraged her to keep a water bottle nearby and sip throughout the day, Mrs. N noticed a big difference. Instead of nodding off after lunch, she felt sharper, lighter, and more able to enjoy her favorite TV shows. Something as ordinary as water turned into her secret energy booster. Hydration also supports circulation. Water helps maintain the volume of blood in your body, which means more oxygen can be carried to the brain. That extra oxygen is like fresh fuel, energizing your mental engine. Without it, your brain works harder for fewer results. Seniors who stay hydrated often report fewer headaches, less dizziness, and a greater sense of clarity. It isn't magic, it's biology. The beauty of this small change is how easy it is to implement. You don't need to overhaul your life. Start with simple steps. Drink a glass of water when you wake up. Have another with lunch and dinner. Keep a reusable bottle nearby so that sipping becomes automatic. If you struggle to remember, set reminders on your phone or link the habit to something you already do, like taking your medications. Before long, it won't feel like a chore, it will feel natural. Some people ask, but what about tea or coffee? Don't they count? While those drinks contain water, they also act as mild diuretics, meaning they can cause you to lose more fluids. That doesn't mean you have to give them up, but they shouldn't replace plain water. Your brain thrives on clean hydration. Imagine your brain as a garden. Without enough water, the soil dries, plants wither, and growth stalls. With steady hydration, the soil stays rich, plants stand tall, and flowers bloom. In the same way, water nourishes your brain, keeping it vibrant and alive. The change may feel small, but the impact is enormous. So if you're looking for one small change that doubles your mental energy, begin with water. It's affordable, accessible, and incredibly effective. By prioritizing hydration, you give your brain the foundation it needs to think clearly, remember better, and feel energized throughout the day. The second small change that can dramatically increase your mental energy is adding light movement into your day. Many people imagine that exercise has to mean long workouts or trips to the gym. But when it comes to mental clarity and brain energy, the secret isn't about exhausting yourself. It's about gentle, regular movement that wakes up your circulation and keeps oxygen flowing to your brain. Here's why it matters. The brain depends on a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients delivered through the bloodstream. When you sit for long periods, circulation slows. Less oxygen reaches your brain, and you start to feel foggy, sluggish, or even sleepy. Movement flips the switch back on. Even a few minutes of walking, stretching, or light activity increases heart rate just enough to push fresh oxygen to your brain. Within minutes, your mental energy improves, and tasks feel easier. Think of it as hitting the refresh button on a computer. When too many programs are open, the system slows down. But when you reset, everything speeds up again. Movement acts as that reset for your brain. It doesn't require hours of exercise, just a few minutes here and there to keep your mental engine running smoothly. Take Mrs. N, for example. She often complained that her afternoons felt heavy. Even after staying hydrated, she found herself losing focus after long stretches of knitting. Her granddaughter suggested she try standing up and walking around the garden for 10 minutes whenever she felt sluggish. At first, She was reluctant, thinking it would interrupt her routine. But she soon discovered that those short walks made all the difference. Her mind felt sharper, her mood lifted, and she was able to enjoy her hobbies without the same fog. Or consider Dara, the retired teacher. He loved solving crossword puzzles but often found his mind going blank after sitting at the table for too long. When he started taking movement breaks every hour, standing, stretching, or pacing around the room, he noticed his problem-solving improved. The simple act of moving his body helped his brain find words faster, as though his mind had been switched back on. Science explains these changes clearly. Physical activity boosts blood flow, which in turn delivers more glucose and oxygen to the brain. It also stimulates the release of chemicals like dopamine and serotonin, neurotransmitters that enhance mood, motivation, and focus. That's why even a gentle walk can leave you feeling not only more awake but also more positive. Studies have shown that people who had short bouts of movement into their day report better concentration, fewer memory lapses, and greater overall mental energy. The key here is consistency, not intensity. You don't need to run marathons to reap the benefits. In fact, research shows that as little as 5 to 10 minutes of light activity can spark noticeable improvements in focus. For seniors especially, low-impact movements like walking, stretching, or even light dancing are ideal. They are safe, sustainable, and highly effective. Another benefit of light movement is how easily it fits into daily life. You can walk while talking on the phone, stretch while waiting for the kettle to boil, or take a slow stroll after meals. You can even set a gentle reminder to stand and move for a few minutes every hour. Each small burst of activity adds up, keeping circulation strong and your brain fueled. Imagine your brain as a lamp. When the flow of electricity slows, the light dims. Movement restores the current, making the lamp shine brightly again. That's why so many people describe feeling mentally recharged after even a short walk. The act of moving clears away the cobwebs, bringing back focus and energy. This small change also builds resilience over time. The more regularly you move, the better your body becomes at delivering oxygen to the brain. That means not only do you feel sharper in the moment, but your overall mental endurance improves. For seniors, this can mean greater independence, more enjoyment of hobbies, and sharper memory. The best part? Movement also connects to joy. Dancing to a favorite song, gardening, or walking with a friend brings pleasure in addition to brain benefits. When movement is enjoyable, it becomes a habit you look forward to rather than a chore. And habits you enjoy are the ones that last. So, the second small change to double your mental energy is to build light movement into your day. It doesn't take long, it doesn't require equipment, and it pays back immediately in clarity and focus. Hydration provides the foundation, and movement acts as the spark that wakes up your brain. The third small change that can double your mental energy is giving your brain the rest and reset it needs. Many people believe that pushing through fatigue is the best way to stay sharp. In reality, forcing your brain to work without breaks only drains it further. Just as muscles grow stronger after rest, the brain performs best when it has moments to recharge. Intentional rest is not laziness, it's fuel for mental clarity. When you feel drained after walking, reading, or concentrating, your brain is sending a signal, I need a pause. Ignoring that signal is like ignoring the warning light on your car's dashboard. You can keep going, but eventually performance breaks down. Short breaks allow your brain to clear stress, restore balance, and renew focus. Even 5 to 10 minutes of mindful rest can restore mental energy for hours. One powerful way to reset is mindful breathing. You don't need complicated rituals. Just sit quietly, close your eyes, and focus on steady inhales and slow exhales. Each breath lowers tension and gives your brain a fresh wave of oxygen. Studies show that daily breathing or meditation improves memory, focus, and mood. Seniors often describe feeling sharper and calmer, as though their brain has been polished clean. Consider Mrs. N once more. She had already added hydration and light walks into her day, but she still found herself mentally tired in the evenings. Her grandson suggested she try a quiet break. At first, she doubted it would help, but she began spending 10 minutes each evening sitting in her favorite chair, closing her eyes, and breathing deeply. Within 2 weeks, she noticed something remarkable. Her evenings felt less foggy, her conversations more lively, and her sleep more refreshing. That small pause gave her brain the reset it needed to stay energized. Another form of reset is quality sleep. Sleep is the brain's natural repair shop. At night, the brain clears waste, strengthens memory, and restores energy. Without it, No amount of caffeine can keep mental energy high. Many older adults struggle with sleep, but small adjustments, like keeping a consistent bedtime, dimming lights an hour before sleep, or avoiding late caffeine, can transform rest into a true source of mental power. Take Dara, who often woke up groggy after restless nights. He believed that tiredness was simply part of aging. But when he committed to a consistent bedtime routine, turning off the television earlier, sipping warm tea, and reading quietly before bed, his sleep improved. Within weeks, he found himself waking up sharper, with more mental energy to tackle his crossword puzzles and daily walks. Sleep had become his natural brain charger. Rest doesn't always mean doing nothing. For some people, the best reset comes from shifting to a calming activity, like listening to music, gardening, or light stretching. These activities engage the brain in a gentle way, allowing overworked circuits to relax while stimulating joy. Joy itself is energy. When you feel happy, your brain produces chemicals that lift focus and motivation, turning rest into renewal. The science behind intentional rest is clear. Without breaks, the brain's ability to focus declines. Reaction times slow, errors increase, and motivation fades. But with regular resets, whether through mindful breathing, short naps, or quality sleep, the brain restores its ability to process information quickly and clearly. This is why students are encouraged to take study breaks, and why companies that allow employees short pauses see higher productivity. The same principle applies at every age. The beauty of this small change is its simplicity. You don't need hours of free time to feel the benefits. Just 5 minutes of intentional rest sprinkled throughout the day can change the way your brain feels. Combine that with good nightly sleep, and you've given your brain the gift of renewal. Now, let's bring it all together. You've learned 3 small but powerful changes: hydration, light movement, and intentional rest. Each one may seem simple, but together they form a foundation for doubling your mental energy. The key is consistency. 1 glass of water, 1 short walk, or 1 mindful pause may not seem transformative on its own. But repeated daily, these habits reshape how your brain feels and functions. They provide steady fuel, steady oxygen, and steady resets, turning fog into focus, fatigue into energy, and discouragement into confidence. So the next time you feel your mental energy slipping, don't assume it's just age or something you can't change. Remember that even the smallest shifts in your daily routine can have remarkable effects. Drink a little more water. Move a little more often. Rest with intention. These are not burdens. They are gifts to your future self. Your brain has carried you through every memory, every lesson, and every joy of your life. It deserves the care that will keep it strong, clear, and energized. With these small changes, you can double your mental energy, reclaim your focus, and continue living with the clarity and strength you deserve. Hydration nourishes the brain, movement refreshes circulation, and rest restores clarity. None of them require expensive tools or complicated routines. They are practical, accessible, and effective at any age.